Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts. This is a Q&A episode, and so let's actually get right to it, shall we? So Benjamin from Hong Kong has got a few questions for me. So, is Torvosaurus the biggest European predatory dinosaur? Could Durotyrant be a relative of Eotyrannus? Is the medium-sized tyrannosaur that appeared in Planet Dinosaurs Sinotyrannus or Termalengia? Is Giganotosaurus closely related to Carcharadontosaurus? And how come Carcharadontosaurus was originally thought to be a species of Megalosaurus? So to the first question, is Torvosaurus the biggest European predatory dinosaur? Yes. First of all, it is actually the largest known European predatory dinosaur. It could get nearly 40 feet long. It actually would be close to 11 feet tall and would actually probably weigh around, say, probably pretty close to 5 tons, and so that is actually pretty close to comparable size to T-Rex, but not really not as big as T-Rex. And so, but the Torvosaurus in like Portugal and Spain are much larger specimens than the ones that are actually found in North America, and so that actually gives it a pretty good idea of why. And is Durotyrant a relative of Eotyrannus? It is in the Tyrannosaur family. It's just that how they're branched out is a little bit different. They actually, I think Durotyrant is actually, I believe, in nearly the same branch as Eotyrannus. It's just that I think, in terms of how closely related they are, I think Durotyrant is a tad bit larger than Eotyrannus, but somebody in the comment section let me know. And is the medium-sized tyrannosaur that appeared in Planet Dinosaurs or Sinotyrannus or Termalengia? That is unknown. I really don't know, because the tyrannosaur that is actually featured takes place in New Mexico, and Termalengia is not found in New Mexico, and I think Sinotyrannus is also not found in New Mexico either. So I think that one could actually be Dynamo Terror. I think that could be Dynamo Terror. So because that was a Tyrannosaur that was found in New Mexico, so that probably might be the one that you were actually talking about there. And is Giganotosaurus closely related to Carcharadontosaurus? Yes. Because first of all, they actually do belong in the same family. They are sister species, believe it or not. Because see, when you actually look at the Allosaur family tree, you'll see one notch that is below. You got the Allosauridia, where you actually have like Allosaurus, Yanchuanosaurus, and a few others. And then you actually got a branch that is above that, which is where you start to see the basal form Carcharadontosaurs, like Concavenator, and also Acrocanthosaurus, and then you get to the true Carcharodontosaurid family, which is where you have Mapusaurus, Giganotosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus, those types of dinosaurs, and Carcharodontosaurus and Giganotosaurus are sister species. So they are really closely related. There has been huge debates of whether or not those two dinosaurs are the same species, but I highly disagree with that because, first of all, during that particular time of the Cretaceous period, around 110 million years ago, these two dinosaurs lived in the same time period, but they're geographically separated. Giganotosaurus is only found in South America, in Argentina, whereas Carcharodontosaurus is found in northern Africa. And so it does not make sense that these two animals are the same species because, first of all, their niches in their own environments are actually going to be very different. Carcharodontosaurus sahari is actually going to be probably a little bit more of the top predator during its time, because first of all, it's taking on some large herbivores at its time, where Spinosaurus is actually filling a niche is where it's staying near waterways like rivers and lakes, where it could actually feast on fish and carcasses of dinosaurs and all that sorts of stuff. So there's a difference between those two types of dinosaurs. But then you actually have Giganotosaurus, which is really the top predator in its environment. It was going after juvenile Argentinosaurus, maybe dead Argentinosaurus, old Argentinosaurus, you know, that sort of thing. You know, that's what pretty much what they're going to be feasting on. And so, yeah, their teeth are nearly similar. It's just that geographically they're separately. And I think the serration the distance between denticles, the serrations, is very different. I think carcharadontosaurus's serrations are closer together, are more close to each other than Giganotosaurus's, because when you actually feel a Giganotosaurus tooth, you feel those ridges and you feel like they're a little bit more separate than the Carcharodontosaurus denticles. Those are the denticles, by the way. Those are the bumpy ridges on the teeth of like predatory animals, like say your monitor lizards, sharks, and also predatory dinosaurs. And the last question: how come Carcharodontosaurus was originally thought to be a species of Megalosaurus? Well, at that time, around the 1800s, Megalosaurus was found in Europe, and they actually believed that all meat-eating dinosaurs, large meat-eating dinosaurs, were actually the same species, you know, and around Europe at that particular time. And so they actually believed that, like, when they looked at, like, all these bones of meat-eating dinosaurs at that time, they just thought, like, oh, it's Megalosaurus. Because, well, at the time, they didn't do the science well enough to actually figure out, like, oh, this is a different species than Megalosaurus. Like, the teeth are different, or otherwise the size is different, or otherwise the texture of the bones is different. You know, that's how they didn't do the science very well. They just saw the bones and saw the teeth, and they just go, oh, Megalosaurus. But it wasn't until probably the late 1800s, excuse me, is where they actually realized is that, like, oh, wait a minute, these are different species. We got to do the science properly. And so that's how you kind of see it. That's why biology is actually a very important part in paleontology. It's because paleontology is geology and paleontology mixed together, and that's what those. And you have those two sciences come together, you actually got paleontology, and so that's where you got it, where you got the paleontology aspect of that kind of the science of paleontology. It's basically both biology and geology coming together, and that's where you actually have that science of paleontology. But anywho, yeah, that's the reason why Carcharodontosaurus was originally thought to be Megalosaurus, because they thought that Megalosaurus was widespread around the globe. But at that time, there was also not that many dinosaur fossils found in North America yet, and also South America yet, because those kinds of countries weren't totally, those kinds of continents did not have the science of paleontology as advanced as Europe at that time, until North America became the treasure trove of fossil hunting with the Cope and Marsh Bone Wars. But anywho, that's where you actually got the ideas where Carcharodontosaurus was thought to be Megalosaurus, is that at the time, the mid-1800s, scientists in Europe just did not do the science properly. They just assumed, and in science you cannot assume. You have to do really good research, and that's how you're supposed to do it. Collect data and make sure that you actually have the data that is necessary to actually give a really good hypothesis, and that's how you're supposed to do science. All right, that's it for now, and next week would actually be a special episode. I'll let you guys know what kind of herbivorous dinosaur I'm going to talk about, so I'll let you guys know about that on Monday, and so stay tuned for that. And you can still send me questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life by emailing me at dinochris71@gmail.com, or always go on the Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts of Dino Chris. Like the page, you guys should post your questions on the wall or in the comment section. Remember, keep your questions short to the point, and I'd like to see some more battle questions. I haven't gotten any battle questions in a long time, so feel free to send me some battle questions if you have to. It doesn't always have to be animals that are from the same time period. It could actually just be like, you can do whatever kind, you know, like mammal versus dinosaur, dinosaur versus dinosaur, shark against marine reptile or marine mammal, that sort of thing. You know, whatever. Could actually be any kind of battle. I'd like to see some of those again. But and also you can still follow me on Twitter at CSGRALL. It's my Twitter page. I post pretty cool stuff on there. And also for younger people out there, to make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. It's the best fit. It's the most important. It's the best motivation you can have a good education. So it's very important to have a good education. So with a good education, you get a good job in the future. All right, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next week.